Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Kageyama, and I'd like to welcome everyone here to Be Your Own Hero. I'm a stage 4 prostate, bone, and lung cancer patient slash survivor. Been dealing with cancer since late 2020, early 2021. Doing very well. Out here in Texas, we're experiencing some really, really great weather. It's been in the uh, high 70s to 80s for the last pretty much the last month, which is really, really unusual for here. But yeah, we're really enjoying it. And I am hoping that this is going to be an absolutely fantastic interview. Um, I've got my guest here. His name is Mark Harris, and he is from Michigan. So, what we're going to do without wasting any more time is we're going to Oh, let me give you a commercial. Please like, subscribe, make a comment in the comment section, and we're going to get going right now. So, Mark Harris, please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about who you are.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, Mark Harris. I'm from Ypsilanti, Michigan. I'm a fitness instructor. I teach classes in person and on Zoom, mostly on Zoom. And I've been in Michigan all my life. What I so my main focus is to just help others. That's my. I had a lady from India ask, "Mark, what's your purpose in this?" Is to help others. So I I'm with I'm the oldest of five and I'm not going down a rabbit hole, but oldest of five and my dad was in fitness and so I followed that. And so now I do a lot of cancer work.
I'm actually the oldest of six,
Oh wow.
so
I'm saying,
I'm right there with you.
yes, indeed. That's a blessing. That's a blessing. So yeah, my focus is on fitness and then in when I got diagnosed with the prostate cancer, and I was able to turn around and help others. And I'm mainly in the research area, but I just help people. So I try to tell my story, or I tell my story, so that others will be emboldened to tell their stories, and then they'll know that there's somebody they can come and talk to. Because when I was diagnosed, I just felt alone. That I just wasn't. I'm by myself, and intellectually, you know that there's a lot more people there, but a lot of people just don't talk about it. So one thing is I'm gonna blow my horn. I'm gonna be the Paul Revere, if you will, of cancer.
When were you diagnosed, Mark, and what stage?
I was diagnosed in 2000. Well, it's interesting. I had a high PSA in 2011. It was 5.2, something like that. But the doctor said if you had, he asked me if I had sex or had rode my bike within the last week, and I couldn't remember. So he said, "Well, come back in a week, abstaining from those two." Well, I forgot. I forgot. So in 2013, I go back, and the doctor made me come in. I want to get a prescription, but he wouldn't okay it over the phone. So he had me come in, and as my wife would say, Mark wasn't happy about it. But by the grace of God, that's when the blood draw was the PSA was 13 point something. So in 2 years, it went up eight things. So that's when I was diagnosed. 2000 and I got the call October 3rd around 8:15, saying that the biopsy came back positive for prostate cancer. That was me. Yeah.
So there's another component to this. So why don't we talk about that first because that's a very important part of your story.
Yes.
So let's talk about your son and what happened with him because that's I think that'll launch us into the conversation.
Absolutely. So yeah, so that was Thursday, October 3rd. I was diagnosed. On Sunday, I'm we're in church, and my daughter, who's in Phoenix, she texted and said Michael's about to have surgery. My son, who's in Ipsy in the city I was in. So we go up to the hospital and he needs to get a biopsy. So that Wednesday, oh, so that Monday I totaled my car. That Wednesday, my we got the diagnosis that Michael was had adenocarcinoma of the parotid gland. He had cancer of the saliva gland, and so it was interesting because God was with us the whole time. I was diagnosed first, and that was a blessing. So my 30-year-old son, if he had been diagnosed first, he wouldn't have listened to me. But now, because he knows that I know what he's doing, so when we got together, it was like a we were like travelers on this road together, traveling on this road together, and in fact, when we got together, we met, and I had him listen to Tim McGraw's "Live Like You Were Dying." It's a
Oh,
great
that's a great
song.
song.
It is a great song. It's a great song, and like I tell everybody, really, all of us should listen to that because
Right. I
we are.
agree.
Yeah, so it's a great song, but we listen to it, and so by
I'm
the
not
end,
a country music fan, but that's a great song.
you're right. That's the same. It's the same. So so it was a blessing again that I had prostate cancer, and my prostate cancer was Gleason 7, so which was in its own way rather slow growing, rather slow growing. So I still went to my during the 4 months that we had together. I still went to my appointments, but I could really focus on Michael. Yeah, on Michael. Yeah, so
So, what's going through your mind as both you and your son have been diagnosed with cancer? I mean, where was his mindset and where was yours?
um, that's a very good question. That's a very good question. Let me because I'm the type, and I've learned just just go with it, go with it, go with it. Not a lot of thought and prior. Okay, so what do we have to do? What do we have to do? And my son is he's very stubborn, very like a lot like his dad and stuff. So he had he had the right mindset, and we just, in fact, he was he was in the hospital laughing. I'm going to be known as a cancer warrior. That's I'm a cancer. He saw that as a yeah. So we just did what we had to do. Did a lot of praying. Of course, that's part of the regiment. But it was just yeah. We just took it one day at a time. I didn't put a lot of thought into it. Just what did the new day present, and let's go do that. Yeah, it wasn't a lot. What it wasn't a lot of as I remember. Not then, not then.
Did you talk at all about death?
No, not one time.
Hmm.
Not one. No, not one time. We were, in fact, we didn't know how the type of cancer that Michael had. It was very, very fast. I mean, it went from so that was again that was a October the 9th. He was diagnosed. He had surgery on November the 12th. But from October the 6th, again, when he went for biopsy, when I went in, he said, "Dad, it hurts here." Well, I didn't see anything, so I had to go around to the side of the bed. I got close, still didn't see anything. I may have saw a pimple, but I didn't see anything. In a month, it was out to here. It literally, and literally, if you saw Michael today, which is Thursday, and you saw him tomorrow, you would say, "Wow, that's new." It was that growing that fast. So we actually went from one hospital to another. We were eventually sent up to University of Michigan because the type of tumor, and I think at University of Michigan, it was Michael's tumor was only the second type of that kind. Adenocarcinoma of parotid gland is regular. It's not, yeah, it's regular rare, but this one was a different animal. Yeah, so it was, yeah, yeah, because again you're seeing this thing and you're just praying, um, but it wasn't until later on that anyway, oh well, I'll get to that story later on.
So, time, your son passed away after 4 months. I mean, how did he during that 4 months, did he rapidly decline physically?
No, no. So
No, huh?
no. Now this thing grew, but
Uh-huh.
as far as his movement, as far as now, so again, we waited till
Was
no
he bedridden or was he
no
under uh, a caregiver's care or what?
a lot of medication. He was on morphine, pill morphine, liquid morphine, and oxycodone all at the same time.
Wow.
All at the same time. So, but his movements and everything, he was nope. He was just So we were like I said, we were at the hospital first, one hospital, and I went there Saturday to visit him, and Sunday I came up to the room and he literally came out the bathroom dancing because Saturday he was just in so much pain. And so I'm thinking, wow, it's just a miracle. And so that's when I first heard of palliative care. That they're just as a separate group that they came in, and I tell you what, when I f found the lady who helped Michael, I gave her a big. I'm a hugger anyway. I gave her this real big hug because I could not believe my son was dancing, especially after what I saw the night before.
Mhm.
I couldn't believe it. So then, like I said, it grew. We got transferred over to the University of Michigan, and the physician there is Dr. Matthew Spector. This guy he's a great surgeon. He ended up being the head of otolaryngology, head, nose, ear, nose, and throat. But then just a beautiful human being. So he saw Michael, and then he said, "So I'll see you in 2 weeks." I said, "No, doc, that's not soon enough." He said, "Okay, well, come back in a week." So when he came back, he said, "Oh wow, that is growing fast. That's growing fast." So and that was probably November 1st or 2nd, somewhere around there. No, or late October. So we were given a schedule. We were scheduled for surgery November the 12th. And so, which is almost a week and a half, 2 weeks. And so, my Michael's mother, my ex-wife said, why we gotta wait so long? But then you really, until you're in the cancer world, you realize how many people have cancer. I mean, many places are building centers that MD Anderson is just total cancer, but the University of Michigan has a cancer center. Henry Ford has a cancer center. They're building their own centers because there's so many people. And again, until you into that world, you don't realize that. It doesn't. So we found out that Michael, on November 12th, they moved two people out of the November 12th. Now imagine you have a loved one and they're scheduled for a certain date, and then you say, then they the hospital approaches you and say, well, somebody has a worst case. We want to move your loved one out. Well, that's tough to take. And so when Lily said, that's my ex, when Lily said, well, how come we can't get him now? I said, really? There's a lot of people, and they actually moved two people out. And then she began to understand, and me too. There's a lot of people with cancer. So he was so September the no, November 12th, 7:35 they rolled him out, and he was done at 7 p.m. 7:35 a.m. He was done 7:30 p.m. 7:30. So 12 hours. And they cut his ear off. They cut the tumor off, and they took a patch of his leg and covered his the his side of his face. And so Dr. Spector says he comes in and you have a consultation. He comes in and says, "We think." Mark, I'm gonna tell you, I did not hear the "we think." I did not hear the "we think." We got all the cancer. All I heard was we got all the cancer. I didn't hear the "we think," but I did hear him say, "But it could be small as a pinprick." And by December 18th, Michael had a numbness on the left side of his chest, about the size of a dollar. He says numbness, and so when we went in, and it was through his torso. It was in his on his iliac crest. It was several places, but it was just through his torso. And we started. That was December the 21st. So then we got seen December 23rd, and she said, "Well, tomorrow's Christmas Eve, and well, wait, hold on, well, let's get him in fast." So she said, "Let's go. We have an appointment for December the 26th, day after Christmas." This was the 23rd, so we wanted to try to get him 24th. And then so she said, "Well, you can go," and I went around there, and again, I'm beginning to realize how many people need treatment, how many people have cancer. But I tell you what, that young lady who I talked to, and I forgot her name, and it's unfortunate. She did something on the computer. She ran back. She came back this morning. She ran. She literally ran. And when she came back the second time this morning, she said, "Mr. Harris, your son is ready for tomorrow." And I went and hugged her, and because I don't know how she did it, but because I know again, other people are doing the same thing for their loved ones. Other things. So Michael started his chemo. That's again December 24th, I think. Then so February the 20, he died February 27th. So February 26th, he slipped and fell at a friend's house. And but by then his red blood cells, as the doctor said, that his red blood cells were so low because of the chemo that he could have bumped into a wall and bled to death. But he slipped and fell on some ice. He bled out into his brainstem but overnight. So when he got up that morning, everything seemed fine. He was moving well. He was going to his appointment, and so then uh, I get a, so I was in class. I was in class, and I get a call that Michael's in the hospital, and I'm thinking, okay, well, yeah, he had his appointment, so I didn't really think anything about it. Then I went to my next class, and so then I was just thinking about this before this. So when I went to my next class, we got that done, went home, showered. My wife and I, we went. So we find out we had to go to ER. So we went there. They put us in a small room. What's this room about? It's kind of like a little lobby. But yeah, so they came back after about 5 or 10 minutes. We waited there, and they said, they started giving where Michael is, and they're kind of letting us know a lot of people don't survive this. So when we go around, and here's Michael. He's laying face up, and he's intubated. Got the respirator and things. So the doctor comes over and says, people when you're 92%, 95%, no, it wasn't 95. It was a little greater, 93, 94, whatever. They don't make it from here. What do you want us to do? And my wife said, "What are they saying? Unplug them?" And no, I said, "Is he dead yet?" And the doctor said, "No, he's not dead," because And then in my mind, I'm thinking, you don't know the God I serve. You don't know the God I serve. I mean, he walked on water. He raised Lazarus from the dead. You don't, let's do everything we can. Let's do everything we can. And the irony of that and I was thinking about this morning, just again, just before this, the irony of that, of course, God could have did that without his help. He could have healed. But now it's interesting because as I'm going to the phone to call Lily, his mother, or my ex-wife, you I'm experiencing something I've never experienced here. I've experienced so I called to mind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, said, God can deliver us from the flame. But if he doesn't, we're still not going to do it. So now you're beginning to get this, this may be because the Bible says appointed for man once to die. This may be the appointment. This may be. So you have to take that in consideration. But now I'm asking the Lord to lead, God, and direct me as I make this call to his mother, because this is not and I've never had this kind of type of call. I have never called a mother and says, your child. And then I got to be careful. I was thinking I got to be careful because I want to say your son is dying because again, I don't know what God is going to do. And Mark, I can't tell you what I said. I cannot tell you what I said. And I think because it was whatever said was thus saith the Lord. And I'm pretty sure I said it in a way that was good for the circumstances. And they got there. So that was around 7 o'clock. And then about 10 after, no, a little bit after midnight, I get a call. Mr. Harris, he crashed, and there's not anything we're doing. He's on his way out or something. I forgot how he said it. I said, okay. But a friend of mine used to work for Gift for Life, and so she said, Mark, we can have them we can fluid and different things and make them still look healthy. And I said, if you all could do that, because his mother will be here 7:30 at 7:30 p.m. If you all could do that and sure enough when they came in, Lily and my daughter Andrea, when they came in, Michael looked absolutely fantastic. He looked fantastic. And so the the so
Was he
yeah.
sedated or was he awake or
Oh no, no, yeah, no, no. He again. By that time he was dead.
oh, okay.
He definitely was brain dead, but he was to me he was brain dead. Because when you're brain dead, the hospital calls the Gift for Life or whoever the
Next
place.
of kin.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The transplant. Yeah. So whoever that is. And so they called us that they had a donor, a possible donor. And out of all the people in that company, my dear friend of over 40 years, 30 years, she's the one that answered the phone. And Michael, we spelled his name Mychal. He spelled it Mychal. So she knew who it was. She knew the timings. She knows me very well. And so it was by the grace of God. She was the first person I called the next morning, and I'm glad because I didn't know that because she was, wanted to tell me, blah, 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 but she can't do that because of the job. Anyway, so yeah, it was, yeah, it was, so, Mark, it's very interesting. Again, sometimes you can't have experience until you've experienced something. So I go home at, again, he was pronounced dead 11:02 p.m. February 27th, 2014. So I go home about an hour later. Dr. King said you sometimes you have to calmly and honestly examine yourself. You got to talk. So I did. Mark, uh, when people ask how's your day, how you doing, you always say fantastic. Well, are you fantastic now? And so I thought about it, and the scripture clearly came. First Thessalonians 5 and 18. In everything give thanks, because this is the will of God in Christ Jesus concerning you. And in the King James Version, everything is two words. And my wife called me persnickety, and when she called me that, I had to look it up, you know. Hold on, let me. But I am, you know, but everything. So everything means the good and the bad. In
Mhm.
fact, we label things. We label things. In fact, and from that situation, I don't label a lot of things now because that's a label. Things are going to happen in your life. In
Mhm.
fact, when you think about it, I think it was in Romans, it said, "For with glory and tribulation, because tribulation worketh patience, patience experience, experience hope, and hope makes not ashamed." And when you think about it, really, that's life.
Mhm.
That's really life encapsulated. Because tribulation worketh patience. Now, patient, when you look up the word, people think patient means about waiting and stuff, but patient means to endure an obstacle or to endure hardships, endure adversity a long time without complaint, without without
Let's get back to
yeah,
refocusing on your
yeah,
son.
sorry.
Okay. Um, so he passes.
Yes.
What's going through your mind at that point?
Well, the the main thing is that again, it was Michael's time.
Mhm.
It was Michael's time. And because again, First Thessalonians were and everything give thanks because it's God's will. So because it was God's will, I just felt better. A lot of times we attribute death or we connect death with punishment with something else. But in the natural, now, yes. But I just you know, my son had cancer, terrible
Mhm.
cancer. And and unless he was healed of that, I wouldn't want him to be in all that pain, you know. So yeah, so it was just it's in another event that it was God's will that it happened, and so be it. Yeah, so yeah.
So how did your ex-wife take it?
It's very interesting to me because when she lives in Arizona. She lives in Arizona. So when she came here, we did what I call the business of death. You make arrangements, you know, have your whatever memorial, blah blah blah. So really, we didn't talk about Michael dying, period, at all
Mm.
until 2 years later when I went out there to visit her, and I didn't realize how much a tough time she had because we didn't talk about it. We didn't talk
Mhm.
about it, you know. But yeah, she just had a really tough time, you know. As mothers will, they will.
Mhm.
Um, But you know, by the grace of God, you know, she's doing well now, better, well. That's me saying it. It'd be interesting to see what she would say. But I know she's doing. She's you know, life goes on. She's yeah, you know, working, doing well, doing well.
Good, good. So let's reshift back to your cancer. So once your son passed, what was your resolve moving forward?
Yeah,
Did you
yeah.
did
So go ahead.
did you did you say, hey, I'm gonna live for both of us?
No, no,
No?
no, no, no. No. Yeah, yeah. Each thing is so in life, events are going to happen.
Hmm.
And as with time, things, you know, you move on. You move
Hmm.
on. So that's why, in fact, the a lady in my class with great care and concern, she asked me, did I want to join her grief group? No, I don't. I don't. Because if I make a big deal about Michael's grief, that means I've locked on to one moment of his life.
Hmm.
You have this life, you have this thing called life from birth to death. Why should I focus on the death part? I have his whole life. No,
Hmm.
so no, so that he died. Again, it was an appointment. I move on. I didn't even know. I didn't even think about that. I don't think so. If I did, it was fleeting. It was
Mm.
fleeting. Yeah.
So what's happening then, while all this is going on, I can't even imagine what it was like for you. You're concerned about your son, of course,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you've got your own cancer to deal with. So
Yeah.
let's shift back to you and
Yeah.
what happened with you.
Yeah, yeah. So I get the I when I get the diagnosis, and Dr. Solomon, just a really, really very good, great physician himself. Dr. Solomon, he suggests that I go. He's a surgeon. He suggested that I go to the radiologist, get a feel for what's going on. So I go to the radiologist, and now I'm naive. I'm thinking that each I didn't. I later on came to the conclusion that each person's area of expertise is what they're going to recommend, which makes sense. Which makes sense. So I go to the radiologist, and I'm thinking, well, okay, University of Michigan is right around the block. Let me go go there, because I'm really into forget second opinions. I got five opinions from at three different hospitals, three different hospitals. So I go to U of M. He wants to put me in a clinical trial, and when I asked the question, he said, "Well, that's not important." Oh, well, time for me to go because So I go to the Henry Ford, which is where my wife retired from, and I go there and I talked to Dr. Craig Rogers, who is now the head of
Biology.
cancer, yeah, oncology. So, but I talked to him first. It went great. It went great. And he doesn't know, but I'm a visual guy. He drew pictures. This is where blah blah blah. Explained it very very well. So then I go home and I looked and I found out that Dr. Manny Menon was the first uh, surgeon who to do robotic surgery in the U.S. and he's at Henry Ford and he taught Craig Rogers. So I'm thinking, well, why go to the student if I go to the teacher? I go to talk to Manny Menon, and I didn't like him. I didn't like him. He wasn't as personable. So he and I asked the question. I could tell he didn't like the fact that I asked the question. He was but I did get my surgery. I don't know. I did I made an appointment for surgery January to something. I forgot what it was. So again, Michael's still alive. In the meantime, my father-in-law that time he sent me a book about that cancer cannot live in an oxygenated state, or I think it's a alkalinic state, something, and to take this hydrogen peroxide, food grade hydrogen peroxide with distilled water, which I did for 3 months. And so, when we tested it in January, I think my PSA, which was at 13.2 or something like that, was now at 10.5 or something. So we're thinking, oh, this stuff is working. So I told my wife, don't worry, we're gonna I'll get it checked another every 3 months, every 3 months. So I canceled my surgery, the January surgery. I canceled, and he Menon was through his administrator. They weren't happy about that at all.
Mm.
But I said, and then the administrator said he won't do it if you need it. I'm saying, okay, cool. I like Craig Rogers anyway, In
Mm.
fact, when I went back after so January, February, April, went back in April, it was now 13.5. It was even higher than it was before. So okay, we'll get the surgery. But again, Michael had already died now. So got the May 1st was the surgery, prostatectomy, and and by the grace of God, we're talking about 11 years of undetectable. people say cancer free, all this other stuff. No, it's undetectable and undetectable. Just like with Michael's. Well, yeah. So it turned out to be just a blessing, but uh, it was smooth, very very smooth, very smooth.
Very good. Very good. That is great. And you're still here and
Absolutely,
you got a big smile on your face. So
absolutely.
that's what counts.
Yeah, yeah.
What would you, with everything that you went through with yourself and your son, what would you like to leave the audience with as far as what's the most important thing that you learned?
There's a there's there's a one of the students in my class. She has this at the end of her email. What screws us up most in life is the picture in our head of how it's supposed to be.
I love that. That's great.
Yes. Yes. Once you have that, once you have that, once you have that, then in fact I tell people now, probably my favorite and most accurate statement is it is what it is. It is what it is. In fact, Trevor, that's where I met Boyd at Man Up to Cancer. But he was saying, kind of your superpower is that you just accept it, and that's what it is. It is what it is. I don't. In fact, I wrote on Facebook, if I'm a guy, so supposedly I'm a guy who ate well, worked out, no family history, blah blah blah. So by those statistics, I shouldn't have prostate cancer. Well, I do. I'm not going to rage against the machine. I'm not going it is what it is. So let's move on and the first thing is like when I was diagnosed that night, I that night I just I didn't even think about it for a while. Even when my wife was asking me questions, I noticed I put that news in the back of my head, and so I watched the movie. And I can't tell you what the movie was. It was just white noise. But when I got into bed and in the solitude, then I can think. I start thinking, and then okay, I'm gonna die. You're gonna die. You're gonna die. That was my natural side. But then my spiritual side said almost, right away, okay, how are we gonna use this to help others? And that's what happened. That's what happened. The using it to help others. Now, of course, I didn't know that the first person I was gonna help was my son, but for 6 days later. But that was and so that's the main focus. The main focus is helping others. So it's not. Yeah, I don't go into the what it's supposed to be. It is, and so let's help some people.
That is awesome. I love that. In fact, that's my mission in life is to help other people with this disease. Uh,
Yeah,
Absolutely fantastic, Mark. Thank you so much for sharing
oh,
your and your son's and your family's story
absolutely, my
of
pleasure.
what you've gone through. Uh, and I'd also like to thank everyone out there for watching us here at To Be Your Own Hero. Please like, subscribe, make a comment in the comment section of the video.
Yeah,
But as Mark said, our life that we live here is short. Let's make the absolute most of it.
yeah, yeah.
Make the most out of each and every day, each and every hour, each and every minute, and each and every second. And I hope each and every one of you has a fantastic week. And we will see you next week here on To Be Your Own Hero. Thank you very much.